Stage 3 was pretty flat all the way and very long, but was always going to be a sprint. Cofidis and DQS shared the work of chasing down a 3-rider break totally made up of wildcard teams, while Quickstep were basking in the glory of holding the GC, KOM and points lead all at once. The gap steadily came down during TV coverage, but seemed to get stuck at 15 seconds around 30k to go as a stubborn breakaway held on for a few more minutes of camera time. A crash in the peloton that took out nearly half of the Trek Segafredo team at 20k to go finally increased nervousness enough to bring the break within sight a few moments later. There was a brief interruption from a wildcard team with a counter-attack, but by 18k to go it was all back together. And like stage 1, teams were sprinting for a seemingly arbitrary change of direction at 15k to go, only to ease off again once they were actually there, which was very strange. No team was really in control after the catch, and a technical run-in didn't help. Some lead-out men even lost their sprinters after around about 5k to go, prompting a lot of looking around. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side of the road, Sunweb were fully intact, and with the help of this roundabout at 3k to go, gave sprinter Cease Boll the best position around the final bend. Further back, Alexander Kristoff of UAE dive bombs Fabio Jakobsen and Sasha Modelo at the very same corner, giving him the right wheel on the finishing straight, but also creating a bit of a gap in front of him. This means that he has to sprint to close it, so that when Boll launches with 200 metres to go, he has great positioning, but the edge has just been taken off his kick. Jakobsen doesn't seem to have the power to come around either, but does manage to overhaul a slowing Kristoff for third, despite the UAE rider having the draft from Boll. Sasha Modelo manages to nip second on the right hand side of the road with a decent turn of speed, but nobody could touch Boll, who took the stage. As you may recall from my previous video, I said that Maximilian Schachmann would need around 30 seconds on Evenepoel coming into the final time trial. However, with only 2.5 kilometres to make a gap on the final climb, it didn't look like the German could do it. 9-rider break this time, but still all wildcard teams, and as soon as the TV coverage begins, the sprinters get dropped. Dries de Bond of Alpecin Phoenix was faring a little better on the Alte climb though, hitting out from his escape for second place points and securing the KOM win. 2012 World Champion Philippe Gilbert was among those hoping to animate the race on an uncategorised pitch at 30k to go, but unfortunately for him he entrusted a few too many riders to really cooperate well, and they were brought to heel moments later by Ineos. Trek Segafredo had a brief break from falling over relentlessly to launch 8th placed Vincenzo Nibali, but a concerted chase from Joe Dombrowski of UAE brought him back, albeit off camera. Meanwhile, further down, Schachmann's position in the bunch seemed to show some fatigue on the first descent of the Mauhal climb, but all the favourites stayed in touch easily over the top. DQS did well to get 5 riders over the first descent and got straight to work, bringing back the last break survivor at 17k to go. Bora were all too aware of this, however, and so sent Lucas Postelberger up front to set pace with a decidedly better looking Schachmann on his wheel 6k later. This effort showed 3 of Evenepoel's teammates, though one did make it back on the descent, and they were all doing better than Dan Martin, who was isolated again. CCC led the field onto the final climb, but Astana had learnt from stage 2, sending Harold Tejada up front to set pace right from the bottom of the Mauhal. Amaro Antunes of FC Porto made a few half-hearted accelerations once Tejada had pulled off, but was eventually countered by a rather reluctant Lopez at 1500 metres to go. He was brought back pretty quickly, and Martin also made a surge under the 1k banner, but like Lopez also had an unsuccessful outcome, possibly to do with some pretty brutal wind. This surge and stop racing allowed steadily riding João Almeida to rejoin for DQS, so he went right to the front trying to keep the group together in a similar way to stage 2. Lopez was desperately trying to avoid the same outcome, however, and so puts in a huge attack with 500 metres to go. Nobody really had an answer, but Martin did drop everyone else in his pursuit of the Astana rider, and behind Schachmann gives it a go at dropping Evenepoel, but seems to run out of gas around 300 metres to go. Lopez took the stage win with Martin a couple of seconds down, while behind Evenepoel led the rest of the group in for third, with Schachmann at least not losing time in fourth. This left 5 riders within just 3 seconds on GC, with 3 of them tying on same time coming into stage 5, which did I mention is a rolling 20km time trial. You'd think this would set up a nail-biting finale, but Evenepoel is European champion and was never really going to lose the GC here. World champ Rowan Dennis set the early mark comfortably with his trademark fantastic TT position and insane power, while Stefan Kung did well to come in just 8 seconds down. Among the GC men, Rui Costa set off first, but it was Evenepoel who looked the most nervous on the starting ramp. Despite this, he bested Kung's intermediate time by 15 seconds and already had nearly 45 seconds over Martin, who wasn't having a great ride but still better than the production team, who listed Patrick Bevin as Polish and then credited Simon Geschke with a time 30 seconds better than Dennis's. A spirited ride from Lopez put him in 5th on the stage, but it wasn't quite enough to overhaul Schachmann on the GC, as the German had matched the Astana rider's time. The yellow jersey, or skin suit, literally, came alarmingly close to catching Martin in the final metres, taking the stage by 10 seconds and the expected overall win. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.